Greetings and salutations, cadets. Welcome back to the 0 to 100% deathless save file and Enter the Gungeon. I figured I'd split this episode since it's going to be the fabled challenge mode episode. I figured I'd do like kind of a split thing. One, just so I have like at least one piece of guide content on the YouTube channel. And two, well, I guess the part 2 will be the actual run itself. So let's talk about challenge mode. Challenge mode is unlocked once you rescue Daisuke, one of the NPCs in the Gungeon. They'll pop up in the breach on the upper right hand side through the door where the sorceress is. You have to go ahead and talk to him and pay some hegemony credits, I believe it is 6, and it'll turn on challenge mode. Each room you go into will have 1 to 3 modifiers active at any given or active during the time of the room, and depending on how far you are in the Gungeon will dictate how many modifiers you get. And I believe, I like to say some of the secret areas, it just depends on like where in the run it is. So I believe Oubliette should have like 1 to 2 give or take, but something that's a little bit later in the run, like Rat Chamber, would probably be about 2, 3. There are 2 unlocks specifically. Well, I guess if you count another mode, it's 3. So if you reach the Black Powder Mine in challenge mode, that is Chamber 3, you will unlock the Chance Bullets. Defeating High Dragon in challenge mode unlocks the Chaos Bullets, which we want, and also unlocks Double Challenge mode, which we will not be doing because there is no unlock for it. Also, it drives up my stress levels, and I don't want that. If for whatever reason, after 30 attempts you have still not completed challenge mode, or, well, I guess if you do 30 times, I guess, the cost of challenge mode is reduced to 1 hegemony credit, and Chaos Bullets are unlocked automatically if they have not. I am also taking a lot of this information off the Enter the Gungeon wiki, so make sure to use that as a resource if you're able to, if you want to follow along. I will be putting images of the modifiers on the screen as I talk about each one individually. The first one that we have is Adrenaline Rush. Every time the player dodge rolls, the game speeds up until the room is finished. A lot of times we're not trying to dodge roll like consistently, not even really to like outrun things. Just try to be very, just mind your positioning. Mind your positioning, be kind of conservative with where you are. If you have like pillars or walls or tables that you can use to your advantage to negate having to dodge roll, do it. And just try to be a little bit more patient. The next one up is Blobulin Rancher. Bullets that hit walls or objects will have a chance to spawn blobulins. These are the tiniest forms of the red slimes, so at the very least it's not the poison slime, so you got that going for you. Though they can definitely overwhelm you if you're not paying attention, and that combined with adrenaline rush, like if you're trying to take out a whole bunch of blobbies with rolls, and it can lead to a bad time. Though there is a very fun trick. If you're playing Hero Shrine or playing with any curse at all, you could potentially get infinite monies by killing all the other enemies in the room save one, just so you can keep the room extended, kill that random other enemy while you have 1 blobby left, and then just keep shooting the wall, keep spawning blobbies. The jammed blobbies will still drop money for you. However, it's not really recommended to do unless you have contact damage immunity, so either play bullets or have something that renders you immune to contact damage, like, say, Armor of Thorns or Blast Helmet. Then, you know, go hog wild. Because honestly, taking 1 full hearts of damage while trying to just get money can lead to a really sad time. And there are other modifiers that, with Blobby Rancher, could also play, or also don't really play well with it. And we can kind of get into that too. The next one is Cursed Ceramics. Spawns cursed pots randomly around the room, which can be destroyed. Standing near a pot will build the player's curse meter, increasing their curse when it is filled. Destroying these pots will cause cobwebs to appear near where the pots were after a long period of time. So these work exactly like the regular curse jars. I believe, I like to say you see them on Chamber 2. I know I see them every now and again in Chamber 3. they work pretty much the same exact way. It's like if you want to force yourself to have at least like one curse, you want to potentially get Black Market, or if you just want a little bit extra for the challenge / the extra money, go for it. Otherwise, it's not really too bad. You can just go ahead and destroy them like you would normally. The spider webs are kind of annoying, but all in all, it's not really a bad modifier. It's okay. The next one is Dark Was the Night. Darkens the room and adds a cone of light to the player's vision. Some enemies have parts that glow in the dark, so you just want to be very aware of where the enemies are spawning and try not to walk blindly to like different areas of the room so you don't run into stuff. I believe the bullets are still illuminated, so that is a thing. Obviously, we'll check all these ones in detail once we get into the run itself, but be wary. Don't Blink is the next one. This one's kind of similar to Dark Was the Night. Darkens the room and adds a cone of light to the player's vision. Enemies that the player is looking at are stunned, but all other enemies become jammed. Doesn't work on bosses, so you'll never see that then. Or at least like the stun effect. That won't happen. This one's not too bad. Like, as long as you're facing enemies, like, you could put like your back to the wall and just make sure your vision is like sweeping over them. This one's not too bad, but if you're unawares, you can have like multiple jammed enemies potentially like gang up on you. Especially like the Spent, which kind of spawn usually outside your vision range and they can sneak up on you. Just want to be careful with it. Next one is Explosive Pyres. Enemies explode upon death. Just don't kill enemies while you're in melee. And if they explode near another enemy, just be careful of them potentially shotgunning enemies into you because of the explosion momentum. Final Attack is the next one. Enemies release bullets in all directions upon death. Just put a little bit of distance. Try not to stay in melee. That's pretty much the long and short of that one. Ghost of the Shell. Killed enemies have a chance to return as hollow points. Hollow points are the ghosty boys. They kind of like disappear and reappear every now and again. They have like the Tommy guns. They aren't bad enemies. This one's not terrible. Next one is Gorgon's Gaze. The Gorgon's eyes will periodically appear in random locations and send out a petrifying wave which prevents the player from firing their weapon. The wave can be avoided by dodge rolling through it or looking away from it. This works exactly like the Gorgon. You could just turn around or you could roll through it, whichever is easier, though I prefer to just turn away. Like, just kind of make sure you're scanning the environments. I'm pretty sure there is a sound cue for Gorgon's Gaze as well. Just make sure you keep your back to it once the wave actually pops out. Gull's Revenge is the next. Causes rockets like those fired by the Gatling Gull to rain down periodically at random locations near the player. This can damage enemies. Well, you're pretty much going to be looking at your hitbox most of the time, so when you have this modifier in the room, just make sure to look out for like the red circle. It's the same exact indicator as the Gatling Gull fight. Gun Q is the next. Prevents the player from manually switching guns. Upon fully emptying a magazine, reloading, or waiting about 30 seconds, the next weapon in the player's inventory is automatically switched to. This disables dual-wielding synergies for the duration of the room, such as the Submachinist. I like to say that is the one with the machine pistol and the... oh, what's the name of it? I'm gonna have to look really quick. Mac-10, that's it. That's the one. I had to look it up. That's also like the bullet and the shell synergy. That is like the Cold 1851 and the Cold 45 synergy. All of those guys. The next one is Hammer Time. A dead blow that follows the player appears in the room. These are the one enemies that appear in the forge that you see like a target show up near you and it kind of follows you around, and then a giant hammer shows or drops on you and spits out bullets. Kind of like a I wouldn't say it's like a star pattern particularly, but like a starburst pattern, I suppose. So these you can like kind of avoid the same way. You can go ahead and like stay at like the bottom of the room, or bottom of the room, to where you're like hugging the wall, or like stand at the top of a pillar, and then as it's like coming down, you go away from the target and dodge roll towards it. Or you can like I guess like position yourself like in between the bullets, either way. High stress, taking damage sets a player to half a heart for the next 5 seconds. Oof, this one's a big oof. Just be mindful when you're taking damage. If you have something to help you negate that 5 seconds, i.e. an invincibility active, like say Potion of Lead Skin or the partially eaten cheese from the rat, this can help you be a lot less stressful. But this one can be an instant run ender. Make you feel like you're getting spelunkied. The next one is Last Bullet Standing. One enemy is invincible until all other enemies are killed. If I remember correctly for this one enemy will have like a red X above their head. In that case, you just ignore him and take out everything else. Once that is cleared, that X will turn into a green check mark, and then you can go ahead and bonk him in the head. The next one is Long Live the King. All enemies are invincible until the king enemy is killed. Items and guns that transmogrify enemies, such as Bundle of Wands, can still turn enemies into chickens. If a key bulletkin or chance skin spawns, no king will appear, which means that just renders the room, or renders this mod completely null. You don't have to worry about it. So this one, instead of like that red X, it'll be like a little crown on top of their head. You'll see. The next one is Poison Pursuit. A trail of poison follows the player. It's not like 1-to-1 speed, so you can always stay ahead of it, but you pretty much want to just keep moving. Obviously, items such as Gas Mask or Monster Blood that negate poison damage are really great here, so you don't have to worry about a modifier. Pot Shots. Objects fire a bullet toward the player upon being destroyed. This is one of the ones where you have to take stock of what is actually in the room, and when you're firing, just make sure you're not mindlessly backing up into a wall where there are debris, and make sure you're just paying attention to where you're shooting. Rat's Revenge fills the room randomly with fire traps. The traps are permanently disabled once the room is cleared. These are the ones where they kind of flicker a little bit and then they have the poof of fire. You see these a lot in like the trap rooms and the secret rooms sometimes. So, as long as you're not, like, standing on those vents, you'll be fine. Shockwave. Periodically, rings of bullets linked with electricity will appear in room and expand outwards. Touching the bullets or the electricity will damage the player. So you'll see, like, a small ring somewhere around the room, and then it'll start expanding, right? You can dodge roll through the electrical ring, just be sure not to walk into it. Now do note, because this is electricity, if you have the hazmat suit, or if you're playing as the robot, you can just walk through it. Though, if also you're playing as the bullet, I'm pretty sure you can actually swing Blasphemy towards the bullets and negate the ring from expanding from that side. Thermal Clips. Upon reloading an empty magazine, a pool of fire appears at the player's feet. This one can be either really annoying or extremely annoying. If you're really reliant on a single shot type weapon, so let's say, I don't know, let's say sling for example, every time you fire that shot, it's always going to technically reload, so there's going to be a small pool of fire right at your feet. So this kind of gets you into the random muscle memory of fire, then roll. And you can see this combined with Adrenaline Rush could be really, really annoying. So just be very wary. Obviously anything that can give you fire immunity is kind of cool. Otherwise, just be very, very mindful on if you're on fire or not. Unfriendly Fire. Any of the player's bullets that hit walls ricochet and then turn into enemy bullets, able to hurt the player as well as enemies. In co-op, bullets will also hurt the other player before they bounce. So this one, just be very mindful of your spray and pray if you're using an automatic weapon or something that can bounce a lot, like a railgun. Just be careful. You might be in for a bad time. Zone Control. Spawns multiple supply crates in a room, only allows the player to fire when standing within a zone around the supply crate. After standing in a zone for long enough, all crates in the room will disappear and the player will be able to fire from any position. The supply crates can be pushed around. So the supply crates kind of look like a bigger version of the ammo box, like the grain ammo boxes. You'll see a like an area of influence around them. I believe it's like a yellow circle. As you stand in it, there'll be like a small timer that you can tell, like it kind of you can see like the circle being filled up if I remember right. And once that's filled up, all the other supply crates will disappear, and boom, you're good. Keep on going. So this one's not too bad. Just find where one of the crates is, and if you could fight while within the crate, great. Or if you need to push it like behind a wall while you're waiting for the other enemies, great. Just try to stand on it as soon as possible, just so you have more freedom of movement before any of the other modifiers have a chance to really catch up to you, like Shockwave. Now really quick, we'll go over the unique modifiers. So bosses in the Hollow and the Forge have special modifiers that modify their attack patterns. Something Wicked, and this one specifically for High Priest. Candles in the boss room become enemies that burst into flames when defeated. These flames last until the High Priest is slain. Yeah. If you have fire immunity, this one becomes a little bit laughable. You don't need to worry about it, but if you don't, well, be careful of rolling around. Extremely Bad Chests. Kill Pillars. Large rectangular patches of poison on the floor periodically appear and fade throughout the fight in a chessboard pattern. So as long as you don't have to stand in one place at any given time, this one's not too bad, and also having that poison immunity will be key. Night's Watch. Wallmonger. 2 invincible sniper shells are on top of the Wallmonger who periodically fire at the player. These pretty much function like any other sniper shells in the game. You'll have their laser trained on you, and then it'll start flashing a little bit right before they fire. Usually you can just get away by strafing from left to right to get away from it, but it does add a little bit of annoyance. The other sad part is you can't kill these sniper shells on top of them, or on top of the Wallmonger, so do be wary. Dragon Rage. Hi Dragon. This is what makes challenge mode to me very, very annoying. Makes all attacks much more difficult. Most bullets travel much faster. His stream of fire bullets aimed at the player bounces off the wall. So this is the, I like to say, the fire breath attack. So it'll actually bounce upwards. So you can't just like stay in the stream and strafe it. You really have to make sure your neutral positioning for this fight is really good, i.e. from the far left or far right. So if he does do fiery breath, you can just strafe from left to right or right to left. He fires more bouncing bullets in quicker succession, so that pattern just gets a lot more annoying faster. Fires 2 rockets instead of 1. Self-explanatory. And had to dodge roll twice into the ring of bullets. He fires 9 homing skulls instead of 5. Having a rapid-fire weapon, or ideally any type of beam weapon to get rid of the homing skulls, is ideal. And in Phase 2, the circular safe zones are much smaller. And on top of that, Dragon Rage is always accompanied by High Stress, which if you remember, if we take any damage whatsoever, there's 5 full seconds where we are at half heart, meaning any touch, no matter what, will kill us. Aside from that though, there's a lot of other information on here, just a lot of random tips that will pretty much give you like a little bit of like push of what items like you're looking for, or what type of Gungeoneer you should be playing or could be playing as to make it a little bit easier on yourself. I won't go over it in this video, but feel free to check out on the wiki page itself. Personally, for me, if you're confident at Robot, playing as him to negate electrical damage from Shockwave is definitely a key. It's definitely a tactic. I personally like doing Bullet, just because Blasphemy is broken any way you slice it, no pun intended. Being able to block out bullets is really nice, and also having the free contact damage immunity is just nice in general. Just so you don't have to worry about a couple of the different modifiers like Blobulin Rancher, or just anything touching you and causing damage that way. Well, that's about it for at least the guide. I'll go ahead and end this video here, and in the next one, well, I'm pretty sure I'm going to upload these both on the same day, but we'll go ahead and cut this one here, and we'll get right into the next episode. Well, please in the comment section below if you have any questions about challenge event. Make sure to put it down there. I hope this helps. And if you want to ask any questions outside of YouTube, make sure to follow our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/gracenote, O is a 0, or go check out our Discord server. Well, until we see you next time, guys, thanks for watching, and good luck on your runs. Bye-bye.